Hello and welcome to Fraggle Talk Classic, the unofficial Fraggle Rock podcast brought to you by toughpigs.com. My name is Beth and I am rewatching for the millionth time.
My name is Julia and I'm rewatching for the first time in 10 years.
My name is Adam and I only prepared one joke for this recording session and I used it for the last episode.
And today we are talking about episode 2 of season 3, Red-Handed and the Invisible Thief, which originally aired on January 7th, 1985, written by Robert Sandler and directed by Terry Maskell.
This whole episode made me so frustrated.
With Red?
I called the ending of this episode like 5 minutes into it.
I bought the red herring.
Oh. Did you think Moki did it, or?
Yeah, I thought Moki did it.
Yeah.
I figured out it was Red pretty quickly, and maybe there was something in my subconscious that remembered because I've seen this episode.
Wow, Julia, spoilers.
Sorry, I would hope that people would know. Yeah.
Well, now they know. So how'd you figure it out, though?
I don't know. Red's just so, like, I was like, it can't have been Moki, because I could also see that that's where it was going to be going, is that she was going to blame her friend who was in the room with her, and I was like, it's so not a Moki move. Moki would have immediately, like, apologized, like, first thing in the morning if she took Red's radish bars, and Red's just such a, like, she's so stubborn that, of course, it's going to be the last, she's so determined to find who it is, and it's going to be the last person she'd think of, which would be herself.
Yep.
See, I could totally see Moki taking these and then justifying it as, well, I was hungry. But I think you're right that she would just admit it and just rationalize it immediately. She wouldn't try to hide it.
She would own up to it. And, like, maybe she wouldn't apologize. Maybe she'd be like, oh, I needed it for this higher purpose. But she definitely wouldn't have lied about it. That felt like that would have been out of character for her.
Right.
I don't know. My bias against Moki showed. I totally thought it was her. So we open with Doc and Sprocket. And Doc is like, Miss Ardath didn't tell me that there were going to be people moving furniture in the inn while she was gone. It's a little sus.
Yeah, he's got his binoculars up, spying on the people across the street.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a moment where, so he goes to call her in order to, like, check, you know, like, is this a real thing? And his reason for not calling her is, I'd better not call her long distance.
Oh, I remember when that cost money.
Yeah.
Hey, so for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, so phones used to be attached to ropes that would link them to a big network of ropes that would link them to other phones. And if you wanted to call somebody far away, it cost a whole bunch of money. And it would usually cost them a bunch of money because you were the one calling and they accepted the call. And so it was considered polite to not do that.
Important context.
Yeah, the world used to be different. Thankfully, the world is settled now and it won't change ever again.
So Doc is like, oh, I'm gonna, go over there and I'm the assistant manager. It's my job to keep an eye on the place. And Sprocket is like, no, let me do it. Like, he's like, patting his chest as if, oh, I'm gonna be a guard dog and go check it out.
Yeah.
But then Sprocket pops up with a toy sword and horned helmet.
I love this. He's got the Viking helmet and the sword. It's so good.
So we open in Fraggle Rock where, it's morning, the Great Hall is dimly lit, and it's just...
everybody's sleeping.
Filled with sleeping Fraggles, just sleeping anywhere. There's one on a tiny little ledge. There's a bunch in, like, a cuddle puddle on the floor. There's one on a ledge at, like, a very precarious angle. I'm just like, all right, Fraggles can sleep anywhere, I guess.
Yeah, which, I love it. And then Red does the thing that I hate, where she realizes something is stolen, and she just screams like a wild animal in pain. And it's like, okay, I'm sorry you can't find your stuff, but don't trigger everyone around you about that. Yeah.
And also the immediate conclusion that she comes to, she says, I've been robbed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, right from the get-go, she assumes it must have been an intentional hurt against her personally, and not like an honest mistake. Like, maybe she and Moki both had some radish bars and Moki ate hers by mistake, or even like a wild creature coming into their cave and eating them. Like, there's creatures all over the place that we've seen.
Well, it's weird that she didn't even have, like, any doubt about, like, oh, well, maybe I left them. Like, I know she's really certain, like, she's like, oh, I left them here purposely. But if it was me, I'd be like, well, maybe I did put it somewhere else before bed. You know, like, she gets there so fast.
This is one of my least favorite thing that children do. Cannot stand it. Drives me up a wall. Kid will be like, somebody stole my pencil! And I'm like, you can't find your pencil. What you're trying to say is you can't find your pencil. And they're like, no, somebody stole it. And I'm like, well, let's look. Hey, is this your pencil here on the ground? And they go, oh, there it is. And I go, okay, stop. This is a learning moment. You assumed somebody stole it, but actually what happened was you lost it. Mm-hmm. Remember this for next time. And they never do.
And it makes sense in some form because, well, okay, think about the child's developmental brain when they're, like, really young and they have no concept of, like, other people beyond them, like, existing for any purpose other than, like, to care for them, or, like, it takes years and years to develop a sense of empathy that, like, oh, Mom can't, attend to my every waking need every single millisecond of every single day. Other people are walking around living their own full lives thinking thoughts that have nothing to do with you. And it takes a while to develop that understanding of, like, when something goes wrong, it can be just an honest mistake that, like, no one was working against you. And honestly, some people never developed past that mindset.
See, for me, it more stems from a lack of self-awareness, which is also totally understandable to have in a kid, even if it's frustrating. But it's like that balancing that self-awareness about the world awareness about, like, okay, which is more likely? Somebody stole your crappy pencil with bite marks on it, or you lost it.
Yeah.
You, an 8-year-old who drops things all the time and knocks things over. Like, I get that you're a kid and you don't know that means that you're a kid. But also, just, like, you lost it, bro. Like, this has happened 3 times. And every time you assume someone stole it. And every time I point out that actually you lost it after we find it together.
Yeah.
Bro. Come on.
We're going to tangent for a second because Julia is dog sitting another Muppet. Please tell us all about this puppy.
This is Mabel. She's the puppy that, I don't know, like, how much maybe got picked up in the last episode, but was crying like the entire time. Maybe is why I was on the quiet side, because I felt very bad. But she's about like
she looks really
7
cute.
months old, and she's very sweet, and she's now being calm. Like, now that I'm holding her like a baby, so
of course
I'm standing in the kitchen because she was gated in this part of the house that she's allowed in, and so now I'm in that part, which is the kitchen. So I'm standing and recording. And she's trying to chew in my headphones. Okay. No, you can't have that.
Julia, are her ears as soft as they look?
They're very soft. She's really soft.
Oh,
she has an older sister named Tia, who I was also holding a little earlier, and she's just a small old lady. She's very sweet. But she's sleeping because she knows how to behave when I'm recording. I'm like, puppy.
Oh, excellent. So Red immediately turns and accuses Lanford, which I think is fascinating because she's already primed to, like, have this innate, like, distrust of Lanford because they started off on the wrong foot, or the wrong route, if you will. And, like, now that innate distrust that she's carrying with her is now leading to a specific suspicion. And, like, who better to blame first but your nemesis?
I also just, like, she tells him that he needs to swear on her, what's the name of the dang trophy? Tulip, two-step, tumbled.
How long do you want me to let you struggle with this? It's very cute.
Just tell me, I got nothing.
Tug-a-tails.
Tug-a-tails trophy. And Lanford says, yep. Lanford can talk?
He can
talk.
Yes, sort of. We kind of saw this before. He can, like, like, Moki can understand him.
Mm-hmm. And
every once in a while the audience can stand like either a word or two or the intention behind what he's saying. But yeah, he's not just sentient, he's verbal.
Also, just want to point out, Red has her hair down again. And just, like, it's such a good little detail. No seams in the world building.
Yeah. I do think it's fascinating that she's making him swear on something that means a lot to her, but not to him. Like, if I were going to court, I'd swear on the dictionary before I'd swear on the Bible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, normally when you are, like, or when you see someone in, like, a movie interrogating another person, they'll be like, swear on your daughter's life, swear on, like, someone in, like, that is important to you.
Right.
As opposed to her being like, here's a trophy that means probably nothing to anyone except me. That's interesting. It's very red.
Yeah.
Very red-coded.
So, Red's like, it's funny, Moki's like, well, Red, don't do anything rash. And Red's like, I'm not going to do anything rash. I'm just going to question every single Fraggle until I find out who ate my radish bars.
Yeah.
And we get this great little bit. There's Gobo, and he's just noodling on his guitar, and it's really nice. And she pops up, and she's like, Gobo, are you still allergic to radish bars? And he says, yes. And she says, will you swear on my Tug-a-Tails trophy? And he says, yes. She goes, all right, you're clean. And there's two things that are really interesting here. One, Gobo's allergic to radish bars.
Mm-hmm.
We know he's not allergic to radishes because he eats radishes. He's eaten radish stew, and he's eaten doozer towers, which are made of radishes, which means there's some additional ingredient that is not radishes in the radish bars that he's allergic
I had that
to.
thought, yeah.
Also, just Red goes, okay, you're clean, and Gobo stops and sniffs his pits and is like, of course I'm clean. He's just like a little resentful. It's really good.
Yeah, that one got a chuckle out of me. And we get this great little scene where we've seen Wembley and Boober bonding over laundry before, because Wembley just is that guy who will take an interest in his friend's interests.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And now they're marveling over something. And Red pops by and hears the word bars. Like, these bars are wonderful. And then she pops in at, like, immediate accusation.
But it's soap bars.
Just bars of soap. And it's magical bars of soap because it'll leave a mark that'll only be revealed by water. Which, again, I did not clock that this was foreshadowing.
Me neither.
I only did because I've seen it a million times, but did anyone else notice that when... so Boober's demonstrating how these soap bars work. He takes, like, you know, a blank handkerchief and he kind of draws on it with these soap bars. And then he dunks it in water, and when he pulls it out again, there's a red drawing of the solemn mark of the Fraggle.
Oh.
Yup.
Yeah, it's a little hard to see unless you're looking for it, but it's definitely it.
So she threatens, and we get this first mention, she threatens to bring somebody before the Eminent Council of Sages. Which I was like, that's some fascinating world building. And we get to meet them later, and they were not what I expected, which is great.
Yeah.
But I also love that, like, Wembley's reason for why he wouldn't have stolen the radish bars is that he has a bunch of his own, and Boober's reason is just a laundry list of why sweets are terrible for you.
Yeah, I kind of forgot that this episode is a kind of a big anti-sugar ad.
It's just Boober.
I mean, only a little bit.
That's true. It is
Boober
just
being
Boober.
like, yes, Boober stress.
And it fits for Boober.
And then we get an establishing shot, and there's just little dudes scurrying all over the place, little floofy spider dudes, and I love that.
I love those little freaky spider dudes. They're so fluffy.
They're so fluffy. And so then she's talking to Moki about it, and they're both really sad about it, and they sing a whole song about radish bars, and we get a clam rock backup singer, and you know I love a clam rock backup singer.
And they just sing a song about how awesome sweets are, and I was like, my people.
It also just, there's some really good rhymes in this one, like something swelled a nibble to make your middle giggle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there was a moment where... So Red is being sad about the loss of her radish bars, and Moki, in a very patronizing tone, she like puts a hand on her back and she's like, "Aw, it's gonna be okay." And I wrote, "See, Moki, that's not helping Adam hate you less."
Wow, I was not expecting to feel so seen by the end of this, because I have a whole thing about how, like, Moki, the reason you're suspicious right now is because you're not being supportive. Losing your stuff sucks.
Yeah.
It's a scary, frustrating experience to not know where your things are, and you're dismissing Red's emotions left and right.
Yeah. And granted, like, she does try. Like, the next thing she does is pulls out 2 radish bars and gives them to Red, which, like, I appreciate the intention behind it, that she's trying to be like, oh, my friend lost a thing that is important to her. I'm going to replace that thing so that she will be happy again. But, yeah, it's not addressing that key concern that, like, Red feels like she has been stolen from, and that there is like a fear and a loss of trust there that's not being addressed.
Yeah. That's the thing that really drove me nuts, is like, you're not addressing the deeper issue there, Moki.
Yeah.
And as somebody who always prides herself on being deep and spiritual, you're really dropping the ball. So we cut to Doc being like, I might call the cops. Those guys are big. And then Sprocket just rides off to war with his Viking helmet and his sword. And it's so good. And I would let him lead my armies.
Same.
I do wonder, like, if Sprocket was a real dog, he's running off.
Are you saying Sprocket's not a real dog?
Sorry. How does Sprocket run on 3 legs while holding a sword in his 4th paw?
I mean,
he did not put the sword in his mouth this time.
There are 3-legged dogs in the world, but...
Oh, true.
Yeah, they don't... They probably don't run the fastest. It's more of like a little gallop.
Yeah.
But it's...
A little hobble.
It's possible for him to run out while holding the sword in one paw.
Yeah, it's just awkward.
He must be just very practiced at this.
Yes.
Which explains why he had a Viking helmet and sword ready to go. Maybe he's just playing Viking all the time on his own.
So we cut back to Moki, and they're having this conversation. And again, it's just that same sort of push and pull dynamic of Red having a rough one. She's building a trap.
Oh, right.
And Moki's just kind of laughing and not being really supportive. But the detail I want to point out is Langford's in the back. And at the beginning of the scene, he's chewing on something. And then he pauses to pay attention to the conversation. And you see his head kind of pivot back and forth to follow who's talking.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, again, perfect little detail. Love this show.
Yeah. When I noticed that he started out like eating something, I was like, oh no, are we supposed to be suspicious of him? But that would only be suspicious if he was like eating something when Red is setting the trap, like with the radish bars left out. Nah, he's just chilling, doing his thing.
Just vibing.
Mm-hmm.
Langford gonna lang. Ferd.
And this trap is visually, it's incredible. It's like a chandelier made with like a wooden hoop and rope netting, and it's hung with like mossy rocks and strung with beads for some reason, and like I think a tin cup. And even Moki's like, oh, Red, what a beautiful chandelier. And I was like, see, that's why I can't hate Moki, because that was the same hat moment for us.
So she's like, nobody, this is gonna, if anybody tries to come into the room at night, this will fall on them. She wakes up and they're gone, and she goes, I can't believe it. This dumb thing probably doesn't work anyways. And then the trap falls on her, and it's great. And Moki laughs, and then to her credit does apologize for laughing.
Yeah.
But Red gets suspicious and asks Moki to swear on the Tug-O-Tails trophy. And Moki says, Red, how can you ask me that? Which is just a red flag. That's a red flag. If your friend is suspicious of you and they're asking you to go the extra mile to prove, like, that's not them distrusting you. That's them asking for reassurance.
It's, like, I can see that to some degree, but, like, so Moki's like, I love radish bars as much as you do, but don't you think you're taking this a little too far? And I was like, okay, that's the difference there. Moki sees it as Red being paranoid over a small, inconsequential thing and valuing safety too much over just living your life and trusting people.
Mm-hmm.
Red sees it as a personal attack, and now she has to prove that she's not going crazy and imagining a threat that's not real.
Yeah, that's the effect of Moki trying to dismiss how Red is feeling, is now Red feels like the onus of proof is on her.
Yes. And also, like, when Red says, like, nobody steals anything from me and gets away with it, I was like, okay, normally it's Moki who's got the white liberal woman energy, and now Red is like one neighborhood bike theft away from calling the cops on a bird watcher.
Mm-hmm.
Especially, like, her logic of, like, Moki says, all right, how do you even know the thief will come back? And Red says, well, anyone who steals radish bars has got to be hooked on them. And I was like, the old all thieves are drug addicts, call the HOA.
Yeesh.
So yeah, neither of them are doing great in this.
Nope.
But when Moki was like, I'm sorry for laughing, but you look so funny caught in your own trap, that was my moment of, I didn't think the poison cacklers would eat my face, said Fraggle, who voted for the face-eating poison cackler party.
That took me a second. That's very good. So Red's like, all right, I need to set a better trap. I'm gonna get some more radish bars as bait. And Gobo's like, well, you're out. Where are you gonna get more? And she's like, oh, I'm just gonna use some of Wembley's. And Gobo's like, shouldn't you ask first? And Red's like, no, I'm just gonna borrow. I'll ask later. And it's like, Red, now you're being a stealer.
Yes.
You're perpetuating a cycle of pain.
Yeah, the steps that Red go through are it's so important to note, because she starts out, like, moment one, just inherent suspicion of someone. And she turns on her nemesis first, like Lanford first. She's not going to accuse a friend first. And then only after all of what she thinks is evidence, this new growing suspicion in Red that her best friend could possibly have done this to her twice, is so alien to her, because she trusts Moki implicitly, which is why she never suspected her up to this point.
Mm-hmm.
But when paranoia has taken hold of you, you start to suspect everybody, even those closest to you. And you're right, Moki is not doing what she needs to do to help Red through this. And so that seed of doubt just grows into this awful suspicion that now she's willing to commit the very crime that she thinks was done to her.
Yeah. So we get another establishing shot, and it's got more different Wrigley dudes, and they're so good, and I love them. So Red has got Gobo to help take part in this, and Gobo is hiding, pretending to be a rock. And he pops out, and so do a bunch of little fuzzy guys.
Well, I think he's pretending to be one of them. Muppet Wiki calls them stalagmite worms.
Isn't he just disguising himself as either a rock or, I guess, a stalagmite?
And he tells Wembley, I'm a rock, see?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he was being one of the worms themselves in the rock. Okay,
maybe
that makes
he's channeling one of the worms. But yeah, he's just like in the rock trying to watch. He's watching the door, right, to make sure no one comes in or out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And so there's a really cute moment where he's like, oh, let me tell you about this postcard from my Uncle Traveling Matt. And then all the little ones just retreat. And he goes, wiseacres. This Traveling Matt postcard didn't do much for me.
No.
Yeah.
I wrote 3 notes that just say, clocks, love Matt's little hat, jumps on watch.
That's pretty much all you need to know.
Is he like in a Germanic town or something? It's very European.
Presumably. I looked it up. So there's a sign, there's a shop sign hanging above the door that reads, A. Simon Uhrenschmuck, which apparently means watches and jewelry in German.
Okay.
So,
you know, like the look of the town or the city where he is, and then also his little hat. I was like, it feels Germany related, but I also don't know.
Yeah. But yeah, he's looking at all of these clocks, and I think he calls them like direction finders, because these silly creatures will look at one of these things and then know where to go, as if they were confused. They were looking for directions, and now they know what to do. Bringing back that there are no clocks in Fraggle Rock, so why would he know what they are?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So Red is talking to Gobo, and Gobo's like, yeah, nobody came into your room last night. I was here, I watched. And I also just want to point out they're in a bigger cave hallway, and so there's longer reverb on the audio.
Ooh.
Great little detail.
Love stuff like that.
So she decides she's going to go before, and she adds another adjective, and I don't remember it, but it's the Eminent Council of Eminent Council of wow.
I have it written down here somewhere.
She adds another adjective. I'm not sure what it was, but it's the Eminent Council of Sages.
Eminent and Venerable Council of Sages.
There we go. And so they come out. We see them in that big cave, and there's a whole bunch of Fraggles there. And then they get ready to hum, and you get to see a whole bunch of Fraggles all holding each other's noses to hum.
Yeah, apparently. So the Eminent and Venerable Council of Sages is whoever gets there first.
And one of them has fallen asleep.
Yes. Hambo and Lambo. Let's see. Hambo as played by Steve Whitmire, Lambo as played by Richard Hunt, and just listed as third Venerable Sage, played by Sharon Lee Williams. But
Sharon Lee Williams has
pipes.
Yeah. So in my head, I'm calling her Glambo.
Nice.
Aww.
But yeah, the song is called The Hum Song, parentheses, Hold Each Other's Noses. Basically just saying, when the rock is plagued by doubt and we've got to sort it out, we always do the thing that must be done. When there's trouble on the rock, Do we hold our heads in shock? No, we hold each other's noses and we hum. I was just like, you know what? All civic meetings should start this way.
Mm-hmm.
From PTA meetings to UN summits, let's start on a note of shared silliness.
Yeah. I also like that, like, the judges are part of the community. They're not just like, oh, this is it's like, oh, this is whoever showed up. What's up?
Yeah. Which is, I guess, the intention behind, like, jury duty.
Yeah.
But then sometimes that works out that, you know, you've got 2 silly people and 1 asleep person.
I'd take an asleep person over some people on a jury. Jesus.
Yeah. And one of them is fairly reasonable. I think it's Lambo that says, like, hey, so Red is like, I accuse Moki of stealing my radish bars, and everyone's like, because who would do such a thing? It's very unfraggly. And Lambo, to his credit, is like, we haven't heard Moki's side yet.
Mm-hmm.
And Hambo is like, I don't need to. Just look at her. Those shifty eyes, that weak jaw. She has guilt written all over her face. And I was like, yep, that is what being on a jury is like. There's that one guy who's just like, no, of course this person is guilty. That's just who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everyone, if you haven't seen the classic film 12 Angry Men, it's a classic for a reason.
Yeah.
It's so good.
So good.
I'd also like the fact that he was so... I do appreciate the takes that this has on the justice system, because you get to see a little bit of it done right, which is sort of everybody, but then you also get to see, like, that's also, like, not a perfect process, because some people aren't great on a jury.
Exactly.
And so they're basically like, yo, you don't have proof. You didn't see it. You're gonna get charged with false accusation.
Mm-hmm.
And she's like, fine, I'll get proof. So she goes and she gets Boober's cool, weird soap stuff that'll mark stuff. And she puts it all over these radish snacks. And Wembley waits and watches. And then when she comes back and tries to prove it, Wembley keeps trying to interrupt her. And she's so caught up in the moment, she won't let him. And I bet she wishes she had. Because she goes to dunk Moby, the 8th dwarf who got kicked out for being too sad. She goes to dunk Moki's hand in the water, and it turns out her hand turns red. Ooh. And Wembley gets to say that, like, yeah, she was eating these in her sleep. And that's how it happens so much of the time. If you lost something, if something is gone, it's probably because you lost it. I'm sorry, this is like 9 years of teacher frustration all coming out at once. But, like, if something's not there, you're a human. Your human error is probably the thing that has led to this thing not being there.
Yeah.
Not always. Not always. But usually.
Yeah, well, one note, I love the shadow puppetry that's happening here, because at least twice we see, so there's this like ominous music, and we see, you know, the radish bars, and then it pans up to the rock wall behind them, and then we see the shadow of a mysterious hand reaching out and taking them. So it really does add to that feeling of like something sinister is going on. And then because of the seed that Boober planted earlier of like, oh, you know how sugary stuff is bad for you. I don't feel like he explicitly said sleepwalking as one of the possible symptoms, but I feel like that was part of the general message of when we started to get like this anti-sugar messaging. That was definitely part of it, was like, oh, it's going to mess with your sleep. And yeah, I guess I just feel like the twist is such a surprise because I'm not sure if the seed of Red being a sleepwalker was planted early enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or at all.
I also don't know how you would plant that seed just narratively.
Right? It's a tricky one.
I will say I really liked seeing Red eat the radish bar because it was very Cookie Monster adjacent, where she was just munching and it was going everywhere.
Yup.
Love to see it.
Yeah.
So then we cut back to Doc, and turns out that one of the guys was Mrs. Ardest's brother, and the cops were happy to handle it. But apparently, a wild dog attacked one of the guys and tore some of his pants. And at that moment, Sprocket comes back in and is just chewing a piece of pants.
See, Sprocket, when we become Vikings, we become invaders.
Yeah, Sprocket. Don't be a colonizer. Give that man his pants back.
So just a couple of quick notes. There's nothing about the international versions of this episode.
Oh.
But it says this is another one where the songs were written by Tim Wynne-Jones instead of the usual lyricist Dennis Lee, and that the song "Sweet Sweet Little Treat" was repeated on the Cheetah and Gazelle episode of The Animal Show several years later, and that this episode was nominated for an International Emmy.
Yay!
Cool.
Shall we talk about how to make the world a little fragglier?
Let's see.
I mean, we don't have to.
I'm just trying to think of...
If your friend is freaking out about something, even if you don't think it's a big deal, like they're having big feelings, be comforting and not dismissive.
Don't jump to conclusions. Use logic and reasoning and work out some problems before you start accusing every single person in sight about something that they most likely didn't do.
If you have to go to a civic engagement meeting, get everyone to hold each other's noses and hum.
Very much so.
All right, I think that is going to be it for this one. You can find me on social media at Beth Anna Cook and occasionally writing stuff for Tough Pigs.
And you can find me at Geek Girl Grown Up, also occasionally writing for Tough Pigs, and at juliagaskell.com for poetry.
You can find me on the ground near the surface that you left me on. Nobody stole me. Somebody just knocked me off the table. You can calm down. It's okay.
All right, reminder to check out toughpigs.com. Give us a good review on your podcatcher of choice, and we will see you next time.
Don't forget to dance your cares away.
Down at Fraggle Talk.
Wow.
Fraggle Talk Classic is brought to you by toughpigs.com. Fraggle Talk art by Dave Hulteen Jr. The Fraggle Rock mark and logo, characters, and elements are trademarks of the Jim Henson Company. All rights reserved. Fraggle Rock theme song, written by Philip Balsam and Dennis Lee, is used with permission. Special thanks to the Jim Henson Company and the entire Fraggle Rock family. For more from Tough Pigs, follow us on Instagram, Blue Sky, and Facebook, and make sure to check out our Discord server, TeePublic merch store, and Patreon. Fraggle Talk Classic is produced and edited by me, Beth Cook. Thank you to Joe Hennis, the Tough Pigs Muppet Fan Podcast executive producer. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time, down at Fraggle Talk.
And I only prepared one joke for this recording session, and I used it for the last episode. Wait, hold on, I have a better one. My name is Adam, and if you would like to unlock today's joke, please upgrade your subscription to Fraggle Talk Classic Premium. Wait, I think I've done that one already.
No, I don't think you have.
My name is Adam, and I'm having an existential crisis. Just sort of constantly, as a default.
Wait, I don't think you've talked about Fraggle Talk Premium before. Please tell us what that is.
Oh. Well, it'll unlock today's joke. It's only $16.99 a month.
For one joke?
A month.
Oh, okay. One joke a month. That's not nothing.
Well, you get access to that one joke each time you pay each month.
Oh, just the one joke repeated each month?
Well, I'm trying so hard not to dunk on Max Fun, and we're just going to keep moving. We're just going to keep moving.
Moving on.